Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you all here in this session at TNV Academy. It gives me immense pleasure to announce that for today's webinar, we are glad to have Mr. Ajay Bajpai with us as the guest speaker. Today, we all will be enlightened by his sheer knowledge and he will be sharing his thoughts on the topic Customer Complaint Handling Clause 8.2 of ISO 9001. Mr. Ajay Vajpayee has audited several organizations for ISO 9001 standard and has assisted many others in implementation of the standard within their organizations. Our distinguished speaker, Mr. Ajay Vajpayee, has done his bachelor's in engineering in metallurgy stream. He is also a lead auditor in ISO 9001, 14001, 45001, 37001, 22000, 27001, 13485, 22301 and 50001 standards respectively. He has an industrial experience of around 38 plus years in field of manufacturing, quality control, quality assurance, design services and technical testing. He has been imparting training to a number of organizations, entrepreneurs, and individuals on various topics related to ISO terminologies and how ISO standards are implemented within the organizations. It was just a brief introduction of our guest speaker today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Mr. Ajay Bajpai. I may request Mr. Ajay Bajpai now to please take over and start the webinar.
Thank you, Apur, and I welcome all the participants into this webinar, which is on a very important subject, that is related to customer complaints. So, handling customer complaints has never been a easy task. We have been going through this training and third party auditing activities for last few decades, and we have noticed that in the beginning of this period of certification, particularly customer complaints were a area of great concern, I would say grave concern, when we were looking into the procedures, the manuals documented, which were a requirement earlier. Now many organizations do not document, maybe sometimes because it's not a requirement anymore. But we still, the senior trainer auditors will suggest that we should have a reference document, and whereby you are linking that to the further procedures, the instructions, and the customers are taken due care and their voice is heard, and specifically their complaints are dealt in the specified and defined manner, so that they get the feedback and they remain with us as an organization for all the time to come. They don't run away. So these were the concepts which we have been discussing since last few decades, and this 8.2 is the direct linkage of the customer complaint, but otherwise it is linked with 8.2.1, 0.2, 10.2, and also we are nowadays talking of SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goals, which has been defined and put into operation by United Nations, and it is greatly related with the customer communication and review of their requirement. So customer communication and review of their requirement is greatly putting an impact, and it is very much linked with the complaints and their overall handling procedures. And it starts when we are looking into the getting the information regarding the product and service. We as a manufacturer are going to supply some automotive components to our customers. So that is the time when the review is going on, the discussions are going on, and whatever information as a service provider also, when we are providing to our customer, that gets very much linked with that. When we are getting into the initial applications, initial contract reviews, we are handling the initial inquiries. For example, when we are looking into an organization who wants to have a ISO 9001 or 14001 audit done by our organization, then that is the stage where the handling of inquiries comes into the picture. So we have got an inquiry form, we have got an application form, we have got client agreement to start the activity. If the information is not given to us in this application form, inquiry form, with the all columns filled up with what is required, then further processing becomes difficult. And because of this information not given to us in the beginning with the full details available, later on it can be converted into a customer complaint because the audit is planned, contract review is done, agreements are done, are not done depending upon the situation in the beginning or in the middle or towards the end of the process. That depends upon client to client and contract to contract we have for certification. So we always try to fetch the information from the client, from our associates, that yes, please give us the complete and the maximum possible information so that our decision making to process the application for certification or auditing is taking a positive direction. Same happens when a client has to do manufacturing and supplying to their clients, and some new inquiry comes or a new customer comes into the inquiry stage. The complete information is either not given or not asked from the marketing team also before taking a decision of sending the offers and getting into the starting of the operations of the manufacturing and so on. So these also getting converted into customer complaints at times. Contracts or orders. When as a manufacturer we get an order, or a service provider we get a contract or the order, that needs a good review, we know that. So if that is the time some linkages are missing, some particular points of delivery or new delivery location or packaging conditions or inclusion of a particular product into the certification scope or inclusion of a unit number 2 or 3 into the scope of certification is not taken care of, it may lead into a customer complaint, including any changes. Changes are very important with respect to the satisfaction of the customers, and many times into the third party audits, we observe that changes are not taken care with the same spirit as the initial order and initial acceptance has been done. So there are gaps into the supply of the products and services. Maybe the packaging has changed, maybe the batch coding has changed, maybe the root card process has changed, but the same has not gone into the production process or certification process. So it is important that any changes which take place till the order is completed, or even when we go for taking the customer feedback and we do satisfaction survey and so on, the changes needs to be well taken care of. How we obtain this customer complaints or customer feedback? So we have not only the final customer, we have got the external customer also, we have got the internal customer also. So we have to take care of various stages of customers which we have. Many organizations are not very proactive into taking care of the internal complaints. So what happens? The internal satisfaction is going down. So ultimately it boils down to the quality and delivery of the final product to our external customer. And at times external customer is not taking care of the final customer's requirement and final customer's complaint. They comes back and shows into the performance of the product or service. So this is again to us that we take care of the customers at all stages, internal, external, final, and in between stages, wherever at many situations we will have dealers, distributors, service organization in between the processes. So we have to take care of all their customer complaint issues. When we are handling product, some other inputs which will be a part of the final product which we will be supplying to the customer. We are manufacturing a filter or a piston or a generator. The customer may say that use these rubber components or these fittings or these filters into my final product, and there is a problem into that at any type of stage while assembly or when we are receiving or when we are finally supplying as an assembly. So this is one area of concern because the customer is involved. So his satisfaction is very important to all of us. So any complaint coming into this area of customer property needs to be taken care of proactively. And there can be situations which are not known when all this is going on. at the inquiry stage or during the production or during the dispatching stage. There can be unknown situations suddenly arising of which can be called contingency act situation, contingency action, emergency situations, which has not been estimated or envisaged at the time of, as I said, initial handling of inquiries and so on. So as and when they are there and they are relevant to the products and services, we need to address them. So these are the linkages and these are the requirements which come into picture when we are into handling of customer complaints. Let's go to the next area, which is the communication. In case of customer complaints, communication is playing a very, very vital role. Most of the organizations will have a customer complaint policy supported by customer complaint procedure and work instructions and so on. And this policy should be available and it should be maintained as a documented information so that our customer is aware of how his concern, how his complaint is going to be handled by his supplier of products or services. Then it should be communicated by marketing team or by the system coordinating team to the customer that yes, this is the customer complaint handling policy. Not only communicated, many times it is communicated, but it is not well explained and not understood by the customer or customer handling team or CRM teams. Okay, so once they are communicated and they are well understood, the concepts are clear, then they need to be applied adequately within the organization of ours and of our customers. And to that extent, I say to our suppliers and vendors also, because we are all moving through that chain based upon the uh, management principle which we have discussed earlier into discussions. And also it should be made available to the relevant interested parties. It's very important that our customer complaint handling policy is understood and also available to all interested parties, whether it's government bodies, whether it is a customer, internal customer, final customer, regulatory bodies, statutory bodies, consultants, certification bodies, auditors to our organization, our taxation bodies, so that they know how the complaints will be handled. And also at the end, the clarity should be there onto the guarantee and warranty status of the products and services. Earlier, guarantee was being used very, very frequently into the operating systems, but now it is the warranty which is, more widely used because that is documented and that has got relevance. Guarantee is something which is only goes by making the assurance and commitment. So warranty is something which is documented between the customer and the supplier, and there are terms and conditions of warranty. So the conditions of warranty should be clear and it should be known to the customer, and its linkage to the customer complaint should also be understood well. No confusion with the warranty and customer complaint and customer satisfaction. Once the concepts are clear, communications channels are defined, understood, documented, and followed, then it becomes simple to operate. We go next to the status of what are we looking as a desired result. What is the ultimate aim of ours? Our team gets trained onto the customer complaint handling processes, and the concept are clear to them, so they can very well explain it to the customer. Customers are clear on that, and also a good communication, well understood customer complaint policy will also ensure that our 9001 system implementation is going well, and globally we are meeting the requirements and customer requirements are well understood, no doubts, contract review is done well with the support of good customer complaint handling process inputs taken into it, and this process is very much available to the customer. Desired result is one of them, that the customer is also very well aware of the process, so that he knows how to report a customer complaint, to whom this complaint to be reported, who will going to give him the feedback feedback, which is the authority who will give him about the further process on his customer complaint. And also it meets the needs of the interested party. We have got varieties of needs coming from interested party. Their requirements are well varying from A to Z. So we have to understand that and we have to meet their requirements. When we are doing the exercise into clause 4.1, it is just linked to the interested party requirement with the clause 8.2 of handling customer complaint. So all clauses of ISO 9001 as such are somehow or the other are linked, and we need to take the benefit of those linkages defined, documented, understood and followed appropriately. Our customer complaint handling policy also meets the vision, mission and the direction of the management. And finally, it is going to meet the desired level of customer satisfaction. Most of the organization, when we go for third party audits, they have a declaration that yes, our objective is to have 95% of customer satisfaction in next 6 months or 1 year or 1.5 2 year, whatever is the situation of the organization is here. Correct, from the current level they decide all this and then they convert it into the objectives ultimately to meet the customer satisfaction requirement. Also from SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goals plan of view, it is important because it is linked to the industry. It is very much linked to the innovation because what most of us have seen and also understood that most of the innovations come out as a result of the customer complaint handling. Customer complaint maybe because of some design, maybe because of dispatch, maybe because of some machinery and infrastructure problems. But once we are going to handle these sustainable development goals through a better management of customer complaint, then SDG is met in some or the other way globally, which is the requirement of the United Nations. So this is, we have talked about the desired results. Now we talk of the action plan. Sorry, we go to planning first. I think let's go to the planning first. So what is the planning for customer complaint handling process? As we discussed in the last slide, documentation is very important, that we are involving the team of marketing, CRM, HR, production. I always say cross-functional teams needs to be involved when we are going to document the customer complaint procedure, work instructions, or whatever name we give it to. Then we need to provide the training to the team, training to the entire team, who start from our own marketing team to the customer team to the vendor supplier team to the communication and training to the final customers and maybe the ultimate customer, whatever name we call it. So the training is a very important part of it. Then displays are required. The customer complaint handling procedures, work instructions are displayed into the production department, design department, marketing department as applicable. CRM departments, they are also displayed onto the various websites of the organization so that the customers and interested parties are aware of the customer handling process and they know where to lodge the customer complaint and how the status needs to be reviewed. We also have many organizations having SAP, ERP, internet, intranet processes. So it needs to be mixed with them appropriately so that they are not going separately and the results are coming out of the softwares of customer complaints handling and ultimately meeting the requirement of our processes. And I also say that effective two-way or more ways of communications are required into the planning stage. Customer receiving is one part, giving feedback to the customer is another part. There may be a third party also involved. A regulator is also involved into this particular complaint because of the nature of the product or nature of the services into district, state, or country. So this communication planning is very important and this should reach to the all levels and all interested parties must be communicated effectively. Once that happens, then we are into the action plan. We are taking actions on so far whatever we have documented, whatever we have planned, whatever training we have given. So now we start implementing the process of customer complaint handling. Long back when we initially went into ISO certification almost 3 decades back, many organizations came to us and I say, sir, by implementing ISO and by implementing customer complaint handling system, our number of complaints are increasing. So we explained them it was because earlier we were not documenting the customer complaint properly, or you were not having the system of receiving the customer complaint. So you thought there are no complaints or there are less complaints, but now you are having a system, so you feel the complaints are more or increasing. But once they started handling this appropriately as per their procedures, then they realized that yes, the improvements are coming day and day by handling good customer complaints. Then it is important to monitor the customer complaint handling process and plans. If you do not do a effective monitoring, the results are not good. And the improper handling procedures, improper handling processes which were documented initially, which happens in many cases. Draft is implemented, and then you understand by monitoring what is right or what is wrong, who is a good handler, who is a bad handler, which customers to be taken care in a different way, because every customer again has got their own the marketing department or customer complaint processes or design study department. So we need to handle this as per the situation which is taking place with respect to the products and processing handled with the particular type of customers. So monitoring is very important. Then we need to do the analysis of the policy. Time to time we need to analyze our policy. We also see the linkages with the replacement policy, with the service oriented policy, on site, off site, because different type of products and services have got different type of policies for handling the customer complaints and the replacement or servicing activity. So we have to do a analysis as an ongoing process. Also, we need to update these flow charts when we are going to into implementation of the customer complaint handling processes. We need to keep on updating the procedures, the flow chart, the communication plan, depending upon the results which we are now getting the feedback from the ground level, because now our systems are getting into implementation. So we get the feedback on 2 3 customer complaints, and then we keep on updating and revising our flow charts, our processes, and our communication plan. Maybe earlier we were doing once in a month communication. Now we may do it twice in a month, or maybe we may do once in a week communication. On the other hand, now we can do one communication once in 2 months or quarterly. All depends upon how the implementation is going on, what is the status of customer complaints, and how they are being handled, and ultimately what satisfaction level customers are getting out of it, internal, external, final, all inclusive. So now we have done with action plan, and now the implementation is further going on, and various customer complaint processes at various levels are on. So ultimate aim is to enhance the effectiveness of complaint handling policy. Whatever was the level, 90% satisfaction, 95% satisfaction of the customer complaints handling status, we need to enhance the effectiveness, so that ultimately the product, the processes, the deliveries at all levels are getting more and more improvised. We have to keep on updating the data in the objectives planning. Ultimately, we will have various quality objectives when we talk of ISO 9001 2015 standard audit and certification and planning. So objectives are there. We will Many organizations have customer complaint handling objectives at various levels, into the design, into the customer handling area, into the dispatch area, into the delivery area. So we have to keep on updating the data in objectives, so that the continual improvement are straight away getting into achievement. Then we have to conduct the accurate and precise calculation after implementation. Once we do the implementation, then we need to do a precise and accurate calculation. I always say that many organizations, when you get into the auditing, they give us the replies by their feelings and what they think is good or what they thought was good or better. So we always say no, this is no good. We need to go by the facts and figures. So we do need to do the correct, accurate, and precise calculations. And then we have the data. So we keep on reviewing the data, the facts and figures with the involvement of all by having small group activities, quality circle, whatever is the technique the organization is fit to use, whatever they feel are comfortable, they involve the team, cross-functional team, and they review the data and they understand what is the direction of customer complaint handling. After implementation, now comes the analysis and future action. So we always need to study the complaint handling policy, charts, matrices, the directions, positive, negative, whatever direction is there initially, in the middle, or at the later stage of the surveillance stage, maybe, or recertification. What is the status now? And we keep on taking corrective action based upon that. And the data is to be monitored by application of various SPC, SQC, and other techniques which we are aware of, and depending upon the capability and capacity of the organization, they use these techniques and they do the data monitoring, and inputs are further given back to the process for further improvements. Then what we need to do is conduct effective internal audit of our customer complaint handling policy and procedure by qualified and trained auditors. We sometimes see into the third party or second party audits, or into when we do the analysis of their internal auditing system, we find that internal audits are done by few auditors who are not really aware of the customer complaint handling procedure and policy. They themselves do not have the concept clear. So these auditors should be trained in such way that they are having the concept clear onto the customer handling procedures. They know the concept. So when they do the audits, the good results are found, good NCs are found, so that the improvement into the customer handling processes are coming out as a natural output, natural outcome. Those who do not understand the concept itself and they say, yeah, complaints are just like that. Anybody is doing complaint. Many times we see that marketing team sometimes, no, sir, the complaints are just like that. This customer is having a different type of attitude. He always having a complaining attitude. That's okay. There may be some complaint, customer, a particular person is giving some kind of complaint which may not be really worth taking action, but still, as per our procedure, we need to handle it. It may give some good results. So many organizations, if they go into the details with the help of trained auditors who knows the concept, who knows the importance of this activity, they are trained well to conduct the internal audit of customer complaint handling process, then the results are good. Then we have the data analysis done, we have got internal audit done, we have got the trends of internal audit results in front of us. We know how many NCs, what type of NCs are there into the customer complaint handling area, the process. Then we go for effective review of customer complaint process into the management review meeting. And there specifically we as a team need to review the customer complaint handling process, the results, the status, how many complaints have been received is one part. What is the status of those complaints? What is the corrective actions? Is further target monitoring is being done? So all across the organization it needs to be implemented and it is to be monitored for further action. And the tracking of this needs to be done by the team. In many organizations, we see that good management review meeting had been done as they thought. Minutes have been documented, but follow up and tracking is not there. Responsibilities and authorities as defined are not being tracked. So if the tracking is not done of these actions, these results will not be achieved as desired by the organization as per their policies, procedures, and their the board thoughts, board vision of the board, commitment to the customer. Those results needs to be achieved. And now reaching to the improvement part, that is the final expectation from a certified organization or an organization going for certification, or from this process of customer complaint handling. Improvements needs to be seen by using and following the principles of PDCA, quality management principle, and other techniques available, so that the aim and the target of customer complaint being reduced, improvements coming, customer satisfaction ultimately improving, internal, external, final customer, ultimate customer, and the requirement of sustainable development goals at a global level, SDG, are met with. So these are the requirement and processes involved into the customer complaint handling. We can further review the links of ISO certifications by going to our various website, where all these processes linked to the certification, inquiry handling, auditing, and various concepts is further defined into details, and one can understand the process of certifications and how the benefits are achieved out of the system management certification. So this is all I thought I will discuss with your team today, so that we all can get the practical benefits of the process of the customer complaint handling. And this is one process which has always been bringing improvement into the quality of products, processes, and maybe lot of design changes, innovations, lot of infrastructure changes, lot of cost reduction has come out when we have gone into a better and better uh, customer complaint handling processes and our requirement as we have defined, following through the process of training, internal auditing, management review, and data analysis, which is the key to success and for the implementation of effective ISO 9001 2000 system implementation. So that's all from my side, Apur, for timing. If our participants and you have any questions, you are most welcome.
Participants, if you have any questions, you can please go on and ask now.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah, sir. Sir, my question is, why customer complaint is good for a company?
Customer complaint is good in the sense, you see, we should not keep the customer silent. If customers are silent at times, it becomes risk for the organization because they are not giving the good feedback. It may be called complaint, but if they good give, share the feedback, they share the results of the products and processes which they have had with our products and services, it will further improve upon our performance of the organization.
Hello, sir. Good morning.
हाँ, good morning, बोलिए.
So my question is that how the customer complaint is relate with the SDG, and what is the importance of SDG in resolving the customer complaints in regard to any specific sector, any specific industry, sir.
SDG, I have gone specifically for this point. Specific requirement of contingency action and when they are relevant. And further it goes to the next slide, where we talk of innovations and the industry development. Industry is developing how? Industry is developing because the customer complaints are being handled in a proactive manner. Okay, if customer complaints are going into a proactive manner, then industry is growing, contingency plans are being developed, and statutory and regulatory boards are getting satisfied. So as a global situation, we are getting the SDG being implemented. Innovation, infrastructure, and industry. They are related to SDG, Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for so clarification.
Sir, I have a question as well.
Yeah.
Sir, is documenting customer complaint a mandatory requirement under ISO 9001 standard?
You see, I always, talk from the practical angle. My concept and our concept should always be that we are looking at improvements. If we are not documenting customer complaints, if it is going into air, if it is going into our thoughts, then how the improvements will come, how the customers will get the feedback. So documentation is mandatory to that extent.
Thank you so much, sir. If any of the
Because all the requirements are interlinked. If we talk of documentation, if we talk of implementation, if we talk of feedback, if we talk of internal audit, if we talk of management review, I'm not talking with respect of raising NCR or not, saying as a non-conformity or not into the first party or third party audit, but I always talk with the ultimate aim of the standard, which is the continual improvement. So continual improvement gets linked to all these situations, and they will call for a documentation and effective review.
Thank you so much, sir, for the clarification. If any of the participants has any more questions, please ask. I guess there are no more questions from any of the participants now. So we can now come to the conclusion of this particular session. I would say that I do not have enough words in expressing that how fruitful and eventful this particular session was for all of us. I personally have been helped a lot in gaining knowledge about today's topic. I can also say with much confidence that our participants must have enjoyed the context of today's webinar, and it will definitely add value to their expertise and domain of work in which they are performing as of now. I thank you from the bottom of my heart, Mr. Ajay Bajpai, on behalf of TNV Academy for giving your valuable time and accepting this invitation again to be the guest speaker for today's webinar. I also thank all the participants for taking out their valuable time from their busy schedule and joining us in the webinar today. Hope to see you all again soon with an exciting new topic. Till then, wish you all best of luck on behalf of TNB Academy for all your future endeavors. Thank you once again.